So, I would gratefully appreciate actually being able to do this shoot before we go flitting off to the dimensions. I like this situation that I'm in. Um, the and there's things I want to do now. Sammy is inspired, steps in front of the cameras, solves the hair problem at least for the moment, and is going to uh, I'm going to give my message.
Okay, now, do you want to summarize it and see how it worked out, or you want to just sort of hand wave it and think about it later? Because
Um,
you could roll right now, and we will
right.
literally see the result instantly.
I
Because
need to tell you
I,
more.
I should
Right.
I should mention that you are surrounded by not only by camera crew and that sort of thing, but also, this being the future, digital displays popping up on
Of course.
virtually every surface. So when you do something live online, you get instant feedback. You see hearts
Absolutely.
or thumbs up or thumbs down, literally scrolling up the screens
Hmm.
immediately.
Oh yeah. So I therefore am perfectly happy. This is my life. This is what I'm good at. So I will launch into the shoot as planned. And this is where my own creative drive will kick in, because this is perhaps I'm imagining uh, whatever it is I'm reporting about. Do you want to provide what I'm reporting about, just to give me a little bit of a prompt? What is it that
Uh,
Blackfist that see, you did it to me with the X.
well, it's
Um,
also tied to the dangerous environment to have you up on top of this roof, because the storm has caused 6 city blocks to lose power, and you're out here in the storm reporting on it.
oh, fantastic. Fantastic. Well, you know, super guy, as I begin to give my broadcast, but my mind spins into the adventures of super guy with his shiny black outfit and his fists of hope. um
Fists of hope.
Yes, the shiny black
I
outfit
love it.
and the fists of hope are on the job with Super Guy, and Super Guy, of course, soars into the storm and stretches out his hands and looks up, protecting the city below, and firing bolts of supportive energy into the grid, and stuff like that. Of course, the looming threats behind the storm, because of course it's not just a storm. Anyway, so so who I mean, I'm sure I'm giving a perfectly solid little broadcast performance to the cameras,
It is
but
striking,
I'm
and
just
while you're
like
doing it, the air gets
fantasizing like a
denser,
maniac, and that's what I'm perceiving.
darker.
Mm-hmm.
There are flashes of lightning in the clouds up above and behind you. This shot is amazing.
Of course it is.
And let's see what the audience thinks. I guess this is the same role, or do you have a difference? I don't know what your other skills are.
Okay, well, again, the idea then is, therefore, how well do I carry off the broadcast in the middle of all my raving,
Yeah.
my internal raving and ranting. And to do that, I would like just a little more before a roll. You understand? I'm really running with your whole Brazil thing here, right?
I
So
I love it, and what
so
I hear coming up is maybe that you want to do a little character development here. This
yeah,
sounds
that's
like a life
exactly right.
shaper
This is
connected.
exactly what I'm doing. This
Uh
is
huh.
this is my request for character development, as in the rules, because sort of negotiating about what I roll and all that shit doesn't really matter to me right now. You can decide what about this is a roll about what, and just let me know, because right now, from my point of view, um, I
Oh
am
no,
battling
this already,
the malevolence
yeah. Yeah,
behind the
absolutely.
storm.
Even if you Ron, even if you hadn't read the rules, this to me this already sounds like, yeah, this is a character development moment right here. So my only question to you is, are you gaining a flash of insight from this vision that you're having, or is it more like listening to your inner voice to
Okay, this
guide
is
you?
very much a flash of insight because I will, in fact, I mean, I'm mastering the storm. I mean, I can super guy is more than competent to handle the ravages of a mere storm upon our fair city. This is, I mean, I hold up bridges, I rescue kittens, I do all the things. Stopping protecting us against the storm is just par for the course. But the storm
How
has a name. The
how
storm has a
long?
face.
How
The storm has an intent. There's evil here, not just a storm.
oh there, yeah,
Talk to me
there
about
is.
the insights.
The storm is actually just a symptom of the evil that you felt. Perhaps, Sammy, how many years have you known them?
Oh wait, say that
Is it
again.
your whole life? How many years have you known this? How many years have you known the evil that lurks behind everything and the power of Super Guy?
Well, the I'm not sure what you mean by the power of super guy, but I think that somehow I've always known, haven't I?
You have, haven't you? Since you were a little child, and you feel it wrapping around you like a dense, thick atmosphere. Right now, everything you've ever learned has led you to this moment. And Super Guy is ready. I'm going to give you a +1 on this roll. So this is a charm
Mm-hmm.
plus your plus whatever your verbal skill is that you're using, plus another 1. You want to roll high?
Okay.
Do it.
Yes, I do want to check on one thing. The default is 1, correct? Because what I think I may have misspoken a couple of things. I put a plus. I got a +1 on charm. So does that mean I have 2 dice? When I say +1, I mean I rolled a 6 when I rolled on charm. So I got a +1
Oh,
to it.
so that means your charm is 2
Right,
then.
exactly. So
Okay.
that's so I'm not okay. So I rolled
Okay, and
right.
quickly do adjustments for the other stats because that's what
I
that
am.
means.
I am. Okay, so I got the final value because I was looking at it going 1 die. Hold on a second here. So now I understand. So now I've got my 2 dice. I've got
Which makes much more sense, by
yeah,
the
I
way.
know,
This guy's got
yes,
more charm than the average dude. Yeah.
exactly. So, so therefore I've got 2 dice, and you said +1, correct?
It's going to be a +1 from your skill, right? Because you're
Yes,
basically using your skill on the audience, right?
yes. I'm
But I'm
reassuring
also
them.
going to give you a +1 because of the inspiration that comes from this flash of insight. This is really a life shaper tied to
Uh huh.
your active imagination. Now you're not conscious of this. We all know that, but I'm giving you the +1 anyway.
Absolutely.
So you're gonna roll 2 dice. You're gonna take
Rolled
the
two.
high one
I
and
roll my
add.
2 dice. The high is a 6, so I've maxed out with my 8.
Nice. That is that is ridiculous. In fact, I'm going to go to the unpublished rules right now because I actually have a table for performance that I've never used before. We're going to use it right now.
Excellent.
You rolled a 6. You rolled a 6. You get a +2. That comes out 8. Your performance is described by any critic's viewing as unbelievable. You will, although this will take a minute, there will be a favorable review written by a famous critic about this performance.
Believe I get to narrate my success.
You do.
Okay. So, I have this is my narration. My flash of insight is that the evil has been, so close to me, and I never even really noticed how close it was, how much it suffuses the atmosphere of my very existence. That the storm is not, some external thing, that the evil is here, in the city and things that I think are normal and natural. So that's sort of what I'm realizing, that it's so bad. I think I've known this all along. And it's like, wait, it's so bad that things that I think aren't evil are, right? They're here, even here, right? And so I'm, in
Mm-hmm.
my opinion, right now, I'm just paraphrasing what you've already said. Now I'll continue. The broadcast finishes, and I have knocked it out of the park. I mean, it was the best thing Blackflix has ever gotten from me, and I've set up very nicely. There's no way Blackflix can, no way Blackflix can reverse this on me now, because I just tied them to Sammy's, Slipstream Adventures too, right? And so, they have no fucking choice now. And of course, I have no idea what I've said. I've been off battling the storm as Super Guy. So I just kind of come back to
You know,
myself,
you
and
are aware of those.
everybody, I mean, the camera guy is like crying, right?
All around you,
So,
every screen is showing
right.
hearts and gold stars and little rocket ships scrolling up the screen from both sides.
Excellent. So that's the deal from there. Todd, I'm going to call it right there for us to discuss now.
That's beautiful. I would consider that to be Act 1 and probably the first 2 steps of a Harmon Circle, which is just about right on time for my regular 3-hour schedule.
Fine. So that's nice, and I'm very glad of that. I'm not being sarcastic, but I am saying that good. You've got systemic work here that makes sense on your side for your responsibilities of play as the game master, and that's great. I have those on mine. I look at whatever XP I get. As I seem to recall, there were pluses and XP and all sorts of things that occur during different aspects of what we're doing. We'll do it. We'll do a little.
You've earned 3.
Excellent. Okay, so we'll do 3 and 3 XP, which is great, and all sorts of exciting. So I'm happy. Got debt to worry about there. We'll worry about that later. So that's what you do with debt, right? Worry about it later. So I'm going to say, okay, let's examine a couple of things about this experience.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing I want you to consider is that none of this makes any sense unless you, citing Brazil, meshed with me being excited about it too.
Right.
And this is not genre fandom that we're talking about. In fact, so when first you said, hey, let's do Harry Tuttle in Brazil, I experienced kind of a twinge of, oh, fuck, we're just going to walk through the tropes of being a fan of Brazil. Okay? Mm-hmm. And I overcame the twinge and I said, no, trust, mesh instead. Mm-hmm. Right? Because I could have gone all argumentative and started bitching, right at that moment. And so I didn't.
But of course, what I'm trying to do at that moment, because we've got limited time here, so I'm trying to simulate what in real life would have been, days or hours of conversation about what we wanted to play.
Oh, Todd, no. Everything you did was fine. Days of hours of conversation, shoot me in the head, man. All you needed to do was give me the basics. I said, shit, that sounds, oh, wait, okay, I can do that. We're done. Mm-hmm. 30 seconds, lapsed time, 30 seconds. And I want to look at the content of that 30 seconds. And let's say it does go on for 5 days of internet back and forth. Either way, this is the content that matters about that interaction, which is that we are trusting one another to be inspired and to be continued to be inspired. Right? Mm-hmm. We have to enter into that. There has to be an inspiration. There has to be a sense of, instead of watching Brazil, a sense of ownership over it. And I don't mean ownership like IP ownership and promotional to the audiences out there, like you and I are going to start a Netflix series. I mean, come on. You and I probably could write a spin-off of Brazil with this as like an example scene and submit it to Netflix. You and I could do that in like an hour. That's not what we're doing. We're saying, fuck all that. Netflix isn't good enough. Role-playing is better than watching Netflix. we're going to do this because it matters more to me to do it in this medium. And I'm looking forward to this. But right now, before we started, it's still just a promise, a hope,
That's
an
right.
inspiration. That's like looking at, a role-playing game with a flashy cover, and it's giving you, this glad hand, this glad hand job, right? You're gonna get this, buddy. Look at this guy on the fucking cover. Come on. And maybe I'm really inspired by that cover. So this inspiration part is critical. It's necessary. If it doesn't happen at some point along the way into play, sometimes it doesn't really ignite or really feel real for a little while, which is probably sensible. But without it, you're going to get other priorities coming in, which are not about playing together. Those other priorities may be real. I got the hots for this person at the table, or I want to show off how much I know about some shit, or I want to simply, kick back and get away from the family for a little while. But all those other priorities are real. But you know what? We've got to have the priority of wanting to play this thing together. So at the moment, it's just an inspiration to do so, which is better than nothing. It's necessary. But once we start getting into play, the question is whether that inspiration, which is expressed by the creativity that goes into the beginning of play, notions about the characters, things. When I mentioned a couple of things, I can't see your face on this screen because you got the screen off, but I could sense your eyes going, ooh, he gets it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm not going to have to explain Brazil to this guy. He gets it. Oh my God, he gets it. He gets it. Okay, what's he going to say next? And that sense of communicated inspiration, because then when you said a thing or two, when you came up with the fun names, I had the same reaction. The trust in one another, which was purely provisional, begins to become real at that point.
Right. At that point, it is literally,
we're
literally interactive in that we are both,
correct,
not just one way, but both
exactly
adding to it and interacting with what the other guy just said.
Because we're looking forward to it being expressed in fictional time and events, which we haven't quite started to do yet. But the components for those things, what you're calling the plot field, are popping into place very quickly. Yeah. And so with this occurring, this is necessary. It doesn't have to be brilliant. It doesn't have to be complete, and it can't be. Remember, it's still just a fucking promise. It's a stronger promise now. It's a hope. It's like, okay, there's kind of a hope, and then there's like oh man, I really hope this is going to fly, right? I really hope we're going to do this. And then once we're into the actual play part is when we have to stop and say, okay, I'm going to black box this just for a sec. We're going to go back to it in a minute. But we're going to black box play just for a moment. Let's go and look at, starting with the initial scene of play, just me on the rooftop, right? With a couple of these things named, right? Some of the, the tensions available. And as soon as you put me on the rooftop, I got a much better image in my head of what Sammy looks like. And I'm sure you did too. In whatever language, some people do like physical descriptions in their mind very clearly. Other people don't. Sammy could be a blur.
I'm aphantasic.
Right?
I'm aphantasic. I'm semantic symbolic.
Right. Exactly. And you know what? That's the nice thing about role playing, because I don't have to be imagining what you're imagining. You don't have to be imagining what I'm imagining. Whenever anybody says shared imaginary space, they are wrong. My term was shared.
Yeah, they are wrong.
Yeah, it is shared imagined space. There's a huge difference.
That is a good distinction. I actually like to take it further, because what I'm actually aiming at as a GM is affect. Right. That is the subjective experience So it is more of an emotional thing,
I
really,
completely
than
agree.
a
Wait.
visual.
You're explaining, right?
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I appreciate the enthusiasm and your intellectual grounding on this. When I probably shouldn't have brought in the technical term. What I really mean is that the fundamental medium that we're dealing with here is listening.